This peculiar object holds secrets of a lost trade. Its long, slender handle, worn smooth by time, and a metal head shaped by countless hands, whisper stories begging to be uncovered. What was it really used for, and why has it faded from memory? The patina clings to this tool like a memory, one that whispers of a craft long since faded into obscurity. Can you guess what it was used for? Most people have no idea. This, my friends, is a fleshing knife, a tool that was once indispensable to every tanner worth their salt. The tanner, a title that evokes a sense of rugged craftsmanship, was a figure essential to transforming raw animal hides into beautiful, supple leather. The fleshing knife was used during the critical stage when the skins were prepared, scraping off the flesh and fat from the hide. Picture a dimly lit workshop, the air thick with the rich smell of animal pelts. Here, a tanner wielded this tool with a deftness born of years of practice, bending over the hide, guiding the knife with precision to ensure that no unsightly remnants remained, turning a rough, raw material into something ready for use. As the tanner worked, each stroke of the knife required not just strength, but finesse. Too much pressure could damage the hide, removing essential fibers, while too little would leave unwanted meat clinging. It's a delicate balance, one that few today could hope to replicate. Over the years, the fleshing knife has become less common, succumbing to the rise of industrial tanning processes that replaced the labor of skilled artisans with machines, rendering such tools nearly obsolete. But it's not just the fleshing knife we must revisit. There are many other tools that tell stories of trades lost to time. One such tool is the beam compass, a tool utilized by carpenters and wheelwrights alike. Imagine a workshop on the edge of a bustling early American town in the late 1800s. Here, a wheelwright, responsible for crafting wooden wheels for carriages, grips the beam compass, a peculiar device that resembles a giant protractor. This tool, with its long, pivoting arm and sharp point, allowed artisans to draw precise circles for spokes and rims. As he moves across the wooden workbench, the compass glides in sweeping arcs, giving birth to beautifully symmetrical patterns essential for strength and functionality. The simplicity of its design belied the complexity of the work it inspired, something that came from a craftsman's intuition blended with his training and technique. Sadly, as automobiles took hold in the early 20th century, the bespoke craft of wheelwrighting began to fade, and with it, the need for tools like the beam compass, leading to their gradual disappearance in modern workshops. Shift your gaze to another evocative tool, the skiving knife. Imagine a cottage sometime in the early 19th century where a leatherworker would sit, her fingers deftly maneuvering this unique implement, a knife designed to shave down the edges of leather. With a blade that curves along one side, the skiving knife provided precision, giving the leather a tapered, beautiful finish. As she carefully pulled the blade against the hide, it glided smoothly, softly singing over the surface. The leatherworker's eyes sparkled with a mix of concentration and artistry, for she knew that this knife could produce not only a practical finish but a work of art. It was a tool that required both skill and care, defining her craft with each thoughtful incision. However, with the advent of nylon and other synthetic materials in the mid-20th century, the delicate artistry of leatherworking has faced a decline. This ever-evolving market has diminished the number of skilled craftsmen, alongside the tools they once held so dearly. Let us now explore the awl. This simple, yet essential tool has a shape that might remind you of an elongated needle, often with a wooden handle worn smooth by use. Picture a blacksmith or shoemaker in the early 1800s, huddled by a crackling fire in their workshop. The awl, in their capable hands, acted as a guide through dense leather, creating holes for stitches, key to the garment or boot's completion. With each puncture, the awl opened a doorway for thread, the combination that secured the integrity of their work. While its function seems humble, the awl was the starting point for countless leather objects, belts, shoes, even horse saddles. As our world shifted toward mass production and mechanization, the need for the awl diminished. Factories full of machines, each producing hundreds of items in a fraction of the time, highlighted the disparity between handcraft and industry, leaving the humble awl to languish on forgotten workbenches. Did your grandfather have one of these in his shed? Tell me below. Next on our journey through lost craftsmanship, is the edge tool known as a draw knife. Like a razor in the hands of a skilled carpenter, this tool features a long blade attached to two handles, ideal for shaping wood, often used in making furniture or carriage bodies. Picture a rural workshop in the heart of America in the late 1700s. A craftsman positions a hefty piece of lumber on his bench, gripping the draw knife tightly. With each controlled pull, he removes shavings from the wood, revealing the smooth grain beneath. The draw knife, with its keen edge and simple mechanics, allowed for intricate shaping and detailing, lending artistry to function. However, as planing machines began to develop in the mid-19th century, this beautiful tool began to fade from regular use as speed and efficiency began to take precedence over the artistic touch of the craftsman. It became buried in the rustic charm of yesterday. Let us not overlook the leather strop, another tool bearing witness to a forgotten craft. This elongated strip of leather, often attached to a wooden handle, served a crucial purpose, not unlike the modern razor strop. In the hands of a tanner, the strop was used to hone and sharpen blades, ensuring precise cuts when working with leather. Imagine a leather worker, early morning light streaming through the window of a small workshop, rubbing the edge of a knife against the smooth, worn surface of the strop, honing it until it gleamed like a well-polished gem. This little slice of the leatherworker's toolkit was a point of connection between tasks, to prepare the tool that would shape raw leather into something extraordinary. Over time, however, the advent of modern sharpening techniques and tools saw the strop being pushed to the sidelines. As work became faster and more mechanized, so too did the ritualistic nature of sharpening one's tools fade into history. And then there was the cramp bar, a tool primarily associated with cooperage, the craft of barrel making. This hefty length of metal, often with various gripping points, was essential for holding the barrel staves in place while the cooper assembled them. Imagine our craftsman in a cooper's shed, surrounded by the sweet, earthy smell of fresh wood and the distant sound of a hammer. He manipulates the cramp bar, tightening it as he expertly aligns the staves. As he works, the weight of the assembly feels secure in his hands, proving vital for the integrity of the barrel. But with the rise of mass-produced alternatives and metal barrels, the cooper's craft began to lose its place in the marketplace, causing the cramp bar to fade from common use. Finally, we arrive at the plow plane, an ancient tool used by carpenters to shape wooden beams with remarkable precision. Much like a handheld router, the plow plane was used to create grooves and channels in woodwork. Picture a farmer in a snowy New England village in the early 1800s, using this essential tool to carve out beams for a barn. The sound of the plane's blade cutting through timber would echo in the crisp winter air, a melody of productivity. However, as power tools transformed home construction, these planes morphed into less popular implements. The charms of the manual plow plane began to yield to the noise and fury of modern machinery, symbolic of the end of an era. As we travel through time, contemplating these once-cherished tools, we can't help but feel a bittersweet nostalgia for the craftsmanship of our forebears. Every fleshing knife, draw knife, or cramp bar carried with it the dreams and desires of those who used them, building a country that valued the hand and the heart working in tandem. Machines took over, leaving behind steel and wood artifacts, remnants of time just waiting to be discovered. As we reflect on these forgotten tools, we honor the tales they tell and the hands that shaped our history. After all, these tools represent more than artifacts. They are symbols of our collective memory. If you guessed it before the reveal, you know your history. Subscribe, a forgotten tool rediscovered every day.